All right, moving on, number 13. I'm going to go ahead and apologize for what's going to happen later on in this video. There are a whole bunch of these that all are interrelated, so I'm going to do this whole thing in one video instead of breaking it up because all the concepts are pretty much related to each other. Now, that being said, this is a small area, and we all know that my handwriting is not the best in the world. So I'm going to do my best to make it all legible, and I apologize if it gets really, really crowded. Now, on here, we're going to find the measure of each lettered angle, and this thing, the two division marks, was the best way that we could do the parallel line symbol, given the font that we had available on that machine. So that says P is parallel to Q. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that in, that line P is parallel to line Q, and we're just going to start working our way around from A to H and see what we can come up with. Angle A is going to be this angle here, and we have only 158 degrees marked on this angle. Now, this is where the idea of P and Q being parallel comes extremely important, because since they're parallel, all of our special relationships between alternate interior, alternate exterior, corresponding, and consecutive interior angles all hold true only when the two lines are parallel. Two parallel lines cut by a transversal means that consecutive interior angles are supplementary, which means they have to add to 180 degrees. So the measure of angle A is going to be 180 minus 158, which is going to be 22 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and mark the 22 degrees in there, and so there's the answer number 13. Now for B, angle A and angle B are alternate interior angles, which means that they are congruent. So no math to be done. Angle B is just 22 degrees. Angle C, let's go ahead and mark that in, sorry. Angle C is over here on the triangle on the right. Now, we've got these two congruent segment markers, tells me that this is an isosceles triangle. I also know that since angle B is 22, its vertical angle over here must also be 22 degrees. Now, since this is isosceles, that also means that the base angles are congruent. So I can subtract 22 from 180 and then divide what's left over by 2 to find the measure of each angle. So, 180 minus 22, we've already can see down up there, it's going to be 158. So 158 degrees divided by 2 is going to leave me with 79 degrees. So over here, it's close enough. I can't write it in because it's too small. C is 79 degrees. All right, now D. Whenever I'm looking at angle D, well, I can see I have this straight line here. Now, this is 22. All three of them together must be 180 degrees, which tells me that these two, since that's 22, those two have to add to be 158 degrees. Well, since they're equal, that means that we're going to divide 158 by 2, which is the same thing we did over here. Angle D is 79 degrees. Angle E. Angle E is part of an isosceles triangle. Again, we have our congruent angle markers. Angle A is 22, and its vertical angle is also 22 degrees. Well, since it's isosceles, the legs are congruent, as are the base angles. So this one is also 22 degrees. Now to find angle E, let's see, 22 plus 22 is 44 degrees, and they have to add to 180. So 180 minus 44 is going to be 136 degrees. Mark that in. Now for angle F, we can draw our attention down to this bottom triangle. If this is 128, our linear pair here tells me that angle F is, well, 180 minus 128 is 52 degrees. Now angle G, our interior angles must add to 180. This one is 90. 52 plus 90 is 142. So 180 minus 142 is going to be 38 degrees. Mark that one in as well. And now, our last angle, angle H, all three of these angles across here have to add to be 180 because it forms a straight line. This one's 22, this one's 38. So let's figure out what's left over for h. 38 plus 22 is 60 degrees. So 180 minus 60 is 120 degrees. Okay, now here's the thing about problems like this. No individual piece of that was overwhelmingly hard. The place where this starts to become overwhelming is the fact there is so much on a single picture that you have to figure out. Nothing's hard, it just involves a lot of stamina and a lot of endurance. Take each piece one little bit at a time, and you can work your way through the entire thing. Do your best not to get overwhelmed. Focus on just the one task at hand. You'll notice that when I was working on A, I didn't even consider what was happening down here with this 128. I was only worrying about the piece that it had a relationship with, which were the consecutive interiors. When I got to B, the only thing I looked at was what relationship do I know? B and A are alternate interiors. You could have also, I mean, there's other routes to this. You could have also said that angle B and 158 form a linear pair, so perform the exact same subtraction we did earlier and get 22. Whatever it is, don't get overwhelmed. Take it one small step at a time and it'll be fine. Inch by inch, life is a cinch. Yard by yard, life is very hard. Go the easy way and you'll be able to make it.